replaced the lights. Threw out the old ones, kept the bulbs, so try to replace the bulbs. So the unboxing of the Premier1 pig fence. Just gonna break it down and show you all the pieces. These are support posts you can buy with the fence. I purchased 8 of them. I don't know if you need them so much with the pig fence, but with the poultry netting, I'd definitely recommend. In case you're wondering. Some of the things that they include in the box: instructions, quick guide. Pretty simple. I didn't really need it the first time around, maybe, but it's the same as the poultry netting. In the bottom of this, they put this cardboard over the spikes, and inside the cardboard, they'll send a little repair kit in case you break the wire or need to patch it up. There it goes. Also inside that cylinder, you're going to find a little label that you can attach to the fence. These are the items for the repair. I haven't had to use this yet. I have tripped over the fence a few times on the poultry netting. Still haven't broke it. Bunch of little pieces, little connectors. They tied this up in 2 little cords, nylon cords, or tie them. This one is a lot easier to work with than poultry netting. It's lighter. The posts are thicker, but it's just easier to set up. Seems more rigid. As you will see when I set it up. Here I am. I'm going to try to show you the connectors. This is where you can link another fence to it. So you can buy another fence, and then if you want to make your area larger, you can just connect it to this. When you hook up the energizer, you just have to hook it to one of those. You don't need those clipped together. The end to end, you don't need to clip it together. Does it? You're still going to get the same jolt. You just need to put it on one of those pieces. So those clips are just for joining to another fence. Which, if you're moving animals, I recommend getting more than one fence so you can have the other one set up, and that way you only have to open up one side of it and kind of guide them through to the other. So the posts kind of stay you just drop the post and then the netting will go afterwards. So you just kind of spread it out. This is the solar energizer in Teleshock. I think it's a 60. Plenty of juice for what we're doing. So this sign right here says stop, remove the shipping bolts. So they have bolts for the actual solar panel connected to the battery box. You're gonna want to take those bolts off, and then in a bag they're gonna have these finger knobs bolts that you can use. It'll be a 10 millimeter wrench to pull them off. You can't get them off by hand. Mine were a little snug, so I had to go get a 10 millimeter. Inside this box right here, I think this will have the bolts and a battery. Not a battery, a plug. So in the event that you ran out of juice, you can actually hook this plug up to your, not that, those are the cable. You can hook this plug up to the, those are the bolts I was talking about. And this, hopefully I'm right this time, there is your plug. You can plug that right to your battery and charge it with an extension cable. It's a quick little guide. I'll flip to this one page. It'll show you in a second. It'll tell you recommendations for the angle of your solar panel, depending on where you live. So there's nothing else in this box. So the shipping bolts, you can see up on the top there's a silver bolt right there, my finger on it. You want to take those out. 10 millimeter. Socket, wrench, whatever you can, pliers. Boom, I went and got it. It was just on just tight enough where I couldn't do it with my fingers. This is going to be wired in, so you can pull it off, but it's still wired, so don't go ripping the battery away from it like it's disconnected, because it's still connected. You see those little slots on the side of those, the red and the black knobs. That's the side you want to come in with your wire when it comes down to it. You'll see that I take one out and put it right back in because it just makes it easier. There's a little squeeze tab down in the bottom. It's kind of like a belt buckle or some kind of buckle. Opens up. Alright, there's your battery in here. You're going to have to, there's a tape on top that holds a wire down. You're just going to pull that tape off. And there's your wire. That wire is going to connect right to that terminal that has nothing on it. This is your ground stake. This will slide into the bottom of your battery cover. There's your wire. Alright, so you're going to want to pull the little plastic piece off your terminal. There it is. Let's pull it off. Take this one. Just slides right on. Now there's a plastic piece on this one too. That's where you would use to connect your plug to if you needed to. There's these two little foam circle things that go on the top. It's kind of just like a little cushion. There's one in there that's kind of stuck, so I'm trying to pry it out. There's a little hole down there. try to get out of here and I'll show you where you put those. There it is. So the bottom of your, right there, you're just gonna slide them in. There's no adhesive or anything. And those will just, I don't even know why they need them. I don't think you need those. There you go. Tuck the wires in, close it. It doesn't open and close as easily as you would think, so don't be afraid to give it a little force. Now you're going to put this on with the knobs. And go in that instructions, it'll tell you, depending on where you live, which way to set it. Time of year, the sun has a different pattern, so it's going to try to tell you what angle to put it at to get the best sun exposure. I haven't had any issues with dead batteries on my poultry netting. And that's the page that will show you. It's like southern hemisphere and or something like that. It has it separated. All right, these are your little clips that will hook to the fence and the ground. And remember, this one doesn't use a ground spike. You could, but this one has that spike kind of included with it. I suppose for drier soil, you might want to consider a longer ground spike, which I'm sure they do sell at Premier1 or Tractor Supply. So I went from that angle because it has that little slot. It makes it easier to put that. There's a little hole. There's a bolt that kind of comes out. It's got the little hole through the bolt. You can just slide that wire through the hole. It's kind of like one of those speaker boxes. And then you're just going to squeeze that back over. You'll just thread it back on until it's tight. You don't have to over tighten these. See, I went in this side, and then I'll pull it back off and I'll put it through the other way. Realized, oh, I should have went that way. Just gives it a better angle for that wire to sit in there so it's not kinked. Go tighten it down till it wants to stop, and you don't have to go too tight. It's that. So you basically, that's the line you hook to your wire, which is going to be that clip. You could hook it to that wire and it'll work. But there's no point stressing out your wire if you don't have to. You can put that right on that clip. This just slides in, that's it. It locks in place. You take that black negative and you're going to, there's a spot on there, it looks like it's cleaned off. That's where you're going to set it. That's it. It's your ground. So now we can turn it on. It's ready to go. You'll see this. It means it's good to go. You'll hear it tick also. It's easy as that, turning it on and off. Good. At least she went backwards. They both hit the fence and got zapped once apiece, right? The girl, the big one, she got zapped twice. And the good news is they went backwards instead of forwards. Everywhere, you know, you read it says they'll jolt forwards instead of backwards, instinct, but we didn't train them on this fence. We just put it up. The girl went in pretty easily, and the little guy, he decided to go into the trees. So I ended up getting a hold of his leg and dragging him. He's doing good. My shoulder, not so much. Side-by-side comparison, you kind of see what they did to the ground. That's where their little house was. I tore this up. Now we have the water. There's still quite a bit of water in it. So I'm going to turn it so the nipple's facing the opposite direction. Then I'm going to tilt it and we're going to dump the water out. And I will, after it's dumped, I'll pull it out of there, pull that nipple off, and drill it out. I like that grass. Oh, they're eating the corn?
Yeah, she took it from me and then he took it from
Alright, so what I did when I emptied that barrel out was I took that nipple off and I took the little screen and plastic piece off, and on the plastic piece there's a little kind of a white plastic inside of it. It's got a little tiny hole in it where the water goes through and the nipple's depressed. So I widened that hole, so I just stuck a drill bit through it. I can't remember the size, I'll check, but it's probably a 3/16 drill bit. Made it just a little bit bigger, and water seems to be flowing just a little bit better. They'll probably need even less water now that they're going to be on all this grass. So every morning the moisture from the ground comes to the surface and it looks like it rains, and it doesn't. So we get a lot of moisture in here. We flood irrigate. So when we flood irrigate, we'll probably have to move these guys because it gets probably up to their elbows deep. They might like it, but I'll have to figure something out there. But they're liking it so far. Both of them got zapped a couple times. Went backwards instead of forwards. It all works out. We didn't train them. Just kind of do what we want. We did the research. Yeah, we get it, but we just want to get them out.